Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marissa. If you're new here, welcome. I did the Disney College program in spring of 2019, but as you know, now in 2021, it's back and a lot has changed. And that's why I'm here to answer some of your questions. I've been getting a lot of questions on Instagram, but instead of just answering people personally, I wanted to make a video so that you guys can all hear my answers because I want to help every one of you. And just to make sure you don't miss any Q&As or DCP related things or just fun other things on this channel, make sure you subscribe. Down below, hit the notification bell if you want to know first. And also follow me on my Instagram because I do post a lot of Q&A poll boxes there and all different things. So go follow me there. I'm gonna start right away because you guys sent a bunch of questions and I want to get all of them. I think I'm actually gonna answer all of them because I am doing the Q&A the same day I ask the questions so I can get it right out. All right, let's start with the most asked question, which is Flamingo Crossings prices. How much is the Flamingo Crossings rent? If you guys haven't seen this new building that houses the college program people, holy moly, look up a YouTube vlog of it. Somebody did like tours and stuff. I think a lot of people are invited to do tours, but it's so nice. It was like kind of what was at my own college, which was like really nice upgraded dorms, study rooms, full-size beds. Like we did not get that back in my day. And so the prices have obviously increased as well. So let me tell you those exact prices right now. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on the screen, but it ranges from $175 to $215 a week, which can be $700 to $900 a month. And that is pretty expensive for a college program housing. So as the unit gets more bathrooms, the price increases, and I'm sure you can put what you prefer, but I'm not even sure how the housing process works. Those things I can't find out without actually applying, and I'm not allowed to apply because I'm too far past the deadline for graduation. So unfortunately, those are things that I don't know, but as I find them out, I can tell you guys. Or if you know, please feel free to comment down below and either correct me or add on to what I'm saying because I would love to hear it from you guys as well. I'm a little bit out of the loop these days. So to compare that with what I had, my rent was $125 a month, which is $50 below the lowest one here, which actually does make a big difference. And to put that into perspective, I was living in a 6-person, 3-bathroom apartment. And it was so rough, 6 girls, 1 fridge. That was the hardest thing I've ever done. So let's say you work 40 hours in a week. Now the pay is $13 an hour. I have to get my calculator out. So if you work 40 hours in 1 week, you're gonna make $520 for that week, but your paycheck won't say $520. You are gonna have your rent deducted from that. If you have the highest rent, you're probably gonna make about $300-ish that week. And that's pretty good. That's honestly not that bad. My paychecks ranged from like $150 to $200 because sometimes I was only working like 30 hours. So if you're gonna be concerned about money, pick up as many shifts as they allow you, which is 40 without going overtime. I'm not sure, it depends on your leaders. Sometimes you have to work overtime, which I think they're doing now. A lot of people are understaffed, or a lot of locations are understaffed, so people have to work more than 40 hours normally. So hopefully it's not as bad as you think. If you get the 2-bedroom, 2-bath, you're gonna be golden, you're gonna have the most money, so don't worry about it. I don't think you can get much cheaper than $700 to $900 a month. So I would stick with Flamingo Crossings for now, especially because then you get to be a part of a community and it's just gonna be a lot more fun that way and you'll always have people to hang out with. So now that we're talking about money, you guys probably also know that the program fee was jacked up to $430 something, I think, $435, something crazy like that. And I think that's so nuts because mine was much less than that. And that is a lot to commit without knowing a role. So we're jumping into a bunch of topics here. So I guess first I'll go to this one because it's definitely a concern for this year in particular. A lot of people are concerned with not being able to choose your goals. Someone asked, what if someone gets put on a water job and they can't swim, or a food job and they have allergies? They're not gonna do that. If you have not been a lifeguard before, or if you weren't on a swim team for years or something like that, they will not throw you into lifeguard. I promise you that. That is the most safety critical job that there is because you are literally a lifeguard. You're guarding people's lives in pools and things. They will not put you there if you don't have any experience. And it's not a very popular role to get. It's one of the more rare roles to get, but it is in high demand. So when they do have people who are experienced, you're probably going in there. But if you're not experienced, they will not make you save people's lives in the pool. Don't worry, you won't have to swim. As for allergies, you're gonna have to provide proof, like a doctor's note or something like that, medical proof that you do have allergies to, you know, shellfish or peanuts or something that would not allow you to work in a kitchen, because you're gonna be around all different kinds of food that are cross-contaminated and you don't wanna be around that. So they obviously will accommodate you. You're not stuck if you have a serious medical concern. Also, I know some people who worked in Speedway in the past were able to get doctor's notes because of the fumes from the gasoline were really not good for them, and some people have sensitivities to chemicals that you would use as a custodial role. So there are ways around it, but you can't lie. You have to be truly honest, because people who really can't work those roles have to be put somewhere else. So don't just say you have an allergy or whatever if you actually don't, because that's not fair to the people who really need to be moved from that position. I would just say you have to keep your options open, your mind open. I don't know a single cast member who was custodial that didn't love their job. You get to walk around the park all day, you get to talk to so many people. Obviously there's not so pretty parts of that job. There's not so pretty parts of every job. It just depends on how you can handle it, but I promise you, you're not stuck. It's not written in stone. You can always talk to somebody. You can try your best to get it changed. But if you actually have a problem, they're not gonna put you somewhere that it literally can't work for you, if that makes any sense. Now I wanna talk about budgeting. So since we just talked about Flamingo crossings, it's important to be careful with your money, especially if you paid your program fee, nobody's helping you pay for this, and nobody is helping you, pay for all your extra things when you're in Disney, like food and souvenirs and whatever, and like outings that you wanna do. So money really adds up. If you're going from college where maybe you weren't paying for everything yourself to now you're out on your own paying all of your bills and everything, then it's definitely smart to start budgeting. And that could be different for everyone. It depends if you're an organized person or if it's just better in your head. Some people are just different. But I would just say, don't get reckless with the spending. Sometimes being in Disney feels like money isn't a real thing, and that's how it feels on vacation. But you have to be careful with the Starbucks that you get in the park. That was a huge expense for me because I just got it every time I went to the park. Souvenirs, even with your discounts, it still adds up. But obviously take advantage of the discounts if you really want things that you see. Just don't buy every piece of merchandise that they come out with. Be careful about what you choose. Only because I feel like people buy so much and then you see by the end of their program, they're on the Facebook pages just trying to sell all the souvenirs that they don't need anymore, like pins that they bought and like mugs and whatever that they can't take back with them. So just be careful about what you buy. Really think if you really want it. And then as for food, grocery shopping can be very cheap. I loved going to Trader Joe's because I had a car, but Publix is right there. Obviously, Publix is gonna be super cheap, so stick with the grocery stores. Don't order food all the time to your apartment because delivery fees, service fees adds up a lot. So that brings me to my next question, which is, how do lunch and dinner breaks work during the DCP? I'm trying to figure out if I need to meal prep or will I have the time to go and grab food. I 1,000,000% recommend learning how to cook and meal prepping because it will be your lifesaver. I don't know how I would have eaten any meals if I didn't meal prep because some days I was so busy and so tired that I couldn't even think about making dinner every time. So on a day I had off, I would make like 4 different meals. I would meal prep for the next 4 shifts and then I had everything and it was so good. So I would get like the frozen bag of fried rice from Trader Joe's with the frozen dumplings and I would make them all at once, put them in little Tupperwares and put them in the fridge for the week, and then I was fine. I had them for my work shifts. So the breaks depend on what your role is. I can only speak for me because that's all I know, is as an attractions cast member when I worked, you got a 15-minute break, a 30-minute break, and then another 15. So on the 30 is usually where you ate your dinner or your lunch or whichever time your shift is. That's when you ate your big meal because 15 minutes is not enough time to scarf down a meal. But if my shift was under 8 hours, I only had the 2 15s. If it was over 8 hours, I had 15, 30, 15, if that makes sense. So you're not gonna get a break longer than 30 minutes if I'm not mistaken. I don't really remember that well, but it's not a lot of time. So either you bring something frozen that's microwavable or you meal prep. They do have a food court in all of the parks and probably the hotels too, I'm not sure. But there's a Subway I know in the Epcot one. I don't know if it's still there, but I think most of them have a Subway. They have like grab and go counters. Or you can have a change of clothes, go out in the park and buy something from your favorite quick service. But that takes time when it's crowded, and I don't even know if you could do that now because of COVID restrictions. See, like everything is changing. So your best bet here would be to grocery shop on one of your days off and then meal prep and have it ready for the next couple of days so you can just relax. Go on Pinterest, find the best, easiest meal preps for people who can't cook if you can't cook. I promise you it's really easy with the frozen foods, but it's also kind of fun to cook in your own little apartment. I have tons of vlogs of doing that too, so you can go back and watch me meal prepping and doing all that stuff on my days off. Okay, this is another major concern. So right now, cast members are basically blocked out of the parks, meaning that you can't just go with your free pass. You need to buy a ticket for you to get into the parks. They don't want you taking up the space, the capacity in the parks with your free pass. So you're not allowed to go on certain dates, and you could look that up on this website in the description below. I truly think that that is gonna change very soon. I think they did that mostly for COVID reasons, but now that things are kind of starting to get back to normal with the vaccinations, I think they're gonna allow cast members to be blocked out much less. Maybe still some days during the week, maybe the weekends, but I think you'll be able to go more. I don't think you'll be blocked out for your entire program because that is like for till January for most of you. So don't worry about that. But I 100% still think it's worth doing, even if right now you're blocked out, because there's so much to still do within the community. Like you're surrounded by a bunch of people who just love Disney and have always dreamed of working there. And it's really fun to be around a bunch of people like that. People from all over the country and sometimes other countries, but not right now, unfortunately. But just having the experience is so great, even without going to the parks all the time, because if you work in the park or if you work in a resort, which you all will, then you're gonna have the park experience a lot. It's not in a guest way, but it's in a different role, which is a cast member. So it's still 100% worth it, and I guarantee you will be able to have park days at some point in your program, if not in the very beginning. But something that I'm wondering is, like, if you have a shift, sometimes I would have a day shift in Epcot, and then right from my shift I would change into normal clothes and just be out in the park and just spend the rest of the day there. You don't have to like use a card to get in or use a magic band or anything. You're already there. So I don't know if they have any rules about that, but if you work in a resort, you can't do that, obviously. So I don't know what that is, but hopefully it won't be blocked out for you guys and it's all gonna be okay. This brings me into my next question, which is, do I have any regrets from my program? And yes, I said this in a video before, I wish I got a universal seasonal pass because it's cheaper for Florida residents, and when you do the DCP, you are a Florida resident if you're in Walt Disney World, which I'm assuming you all are. Now, if you're blocked out at the beginning from Walt Disney parks, you can go to the parks in Universal, and that's just as good. Not just as good, but it's good. It's a good replacement. So I would definitely suggest, it's like $200 something for the seasonal pass for the year, and you could go all the time. So especially on days that you might get tired of Disney, you just want to go to Universal. That'd be so fun. I wish I did that because I never went to Universal during my program, and I totally should have. Another question that's super important is, how reliable is the Disney transportation? So if you don't bring your car, you obviously have to take the Disney buses to work. And I mentioned this in detail in another video. I'm gonna link that up here, wherever, and down below as well. And they are very reliable because they know that not everybody has a car, and that is the only way for people to get to work. So you have to make sure you're on time for the bus schedule, but the bus is very reliable. Yes, there have been crazy stories in the past of the buses catching fire and like weird stuff, but your workplace will definitely understand if something like that happens. But if you miss the bus, that's not really their fault. So you have to be reliable to catch the buses, but the buses are definitely reliable. And then there's always Uber if you miss the bus, so just keep that in mind. But they do a great job with the buses. They're always on time. They're just a really long ride. It's not like an express route from your home to your workplace because everyone's in all different workplaces, so it takes a long time based on the stops it makes. Someone asked, what are the most underrated things to do in Disney, or fun things that a lot of people don't know about? And I'm gonna tell you guys a little secret. You know when you go to Disney and like everyone has different ideas of what they wanna do and like what rides they wanna go on, whatever, they have a whole plan. You ever wanna just have a whole day of just doing what you wanna do? Well, a thing that nobody really does, but I found the most fun part of my entire program was going to the park by myself. Try to have one day, if you're not blocked out, to go to each park by yourself for not the whole day, but you have to take yourself out on a date sometimes. And this is the perfect place to do that, is Disney World. And you get to do everything you want. It was fun because I was vlogging, so I kind of didn't feel like I was alone, but it's really fun. And then eventually I like met up with my friends at one point, but going into the parks by yourself is an experience you will never have probably for the rest of your life, unless you move there and live there and, you know, do that forever. But that is something underrated that you should definitely try. Okay, and finally, how does it work when you invite a friend or a family member to visit you with your work schedule? That was my concern as well, because I wanted my family to visit and they had trips planned to visit me. So I had to make sure that I had off for the days they were visiting and stuff. So at the beginning of your program, you're gonna basically get your entire schedule. It's gonna be blocked out for you, but you can request a certain number of days off. They're gonna tell you all of that in your training and in traditions, and not traditions, in your training. If they don't give you those days that you request off, you can trade your shifts with people. And in attractions, trading shifts was so easy. People really want to make money. That's the beautiful thing about it, is that people always would love to get some extra money. So there would be Facebook groups for your work location. People make them so that you can trade shifts and give away shifts in them. And people, I would post something and like 5 minutes later, someone would be like, I took it. And then we switch so easily. And usually you can do that through the portal. And sometimes you have to call your manager to do it for you if somebody is overtime, because then you can't just automatically do it. It was kind of annoying, but people do take your shifts, don't worry. And as a CP, you also can give your shifts away, but you don't really want to do that because you're there for a reason and you need to pay your rent every month, and you need to pay your rent every week, so you kind of need every shift that you have, unless you're like totally overtime. It's super easy. Just make sure you are really nice to the people you work with so that they will want to give you a trade or take your shift, because if you're not nice to them, they're not going to take your shift. They're not going to want to give you the day off, because why would they do that? So make sure that you're nice to everybody at work, not only for that reason, but because it ends up benefiting you. If you take some people's shifts sometimes, make sure it's not just you asking for trades. Make sure if somebody really needs it, like someone's visiting them, you trade with them, so then hopefully they will do the same for you in the future. I feel like I'm talking so fast, but that was a long video. I love getting these questions because it brings back so many memories, and I'm hopefully helping you guys. And again, in the comments, let me know if I was wrong about something, add something on. I just want to stay in the loop. I want to stay in this little Disney fam. So thank you to all the new subscribers. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here.